They say in life, time heals everything, whether it's sadness, anger, or heartbreak. What they've never prepared me for is having Matty Cash on my bench with 17 points. I don't think time will ever heal that. Well, anyway, we'll get back into the team after my little moment there. We'll talk about the rest of the team. You already know Matty Cash didn't play, so that's 17 points that we don't have. So, as you can see here, there's the team. In goal, our transfer in this week was a goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez. Played against Luton Town, didn't really have to make a save. They were pretty solid at the back, but Luton Town just looked terrible. I think they're really a side that when they're playing away from home are going to be somebody that you target. Raheem Sterling as well had a great game. He just looked so adept at taking on their fullbacks. And after the game, I was like, yeah, definitely going to bring in Raheem Sterling just for the money. I know he was going to go up in price. He's gone up 0.2 in that time. But, you know, you're not going to play Luton every week. And Sanchez is definitely going to have more difficult games than this. In the defense as well, then it's really depressing seeing somebody like Ruben only get 2 points when they're playing against Sheffield United. 85, 86 minutes into the game, they're holding on. They're just they're taking the mick out of them. And City just had about 80, 85% possession. They didn't look like they were going to concede at any stage. And then Bogle comes on for Baldock and scores. It's a bit of a kick in the teeth for everybody who owns Baldock because he was one of the highest owned 4 million defenders. And now Bogle's back and probably going to start. Diaz. Diaz is like Ederson. You sort of think you're going to get 6 points or 2. In this case, it was 2, but it really should have been 6. Estupinan as well. Brighton aren't going to keep many clean sheets this season. If you've watched them, you know that. But Estupinan is the kind of player that you're going to keep him purely because of the fact he's going to score points, whether it's assists or goals. He's just so good offensively. Trent Alexander-Arnold as well should have been sent off. I don't know how he wasn't. 2 yellow card offences so quick one after another. He should have been off. I'm not going to complain. He got 1 point. Realistically, it should have been less. William Saliba as well. Another 1-pointer. Arsenal, the thing is with Arsenal, they're sort of like a mini Man City. The goals they concede are sort of silly. They dominate possession, but it's like if you were ordering something from Wish where you know that there's a better product out there, Man City, and then Mikel Arteta's come in and tried to just copy it. So yeah, I think the thing is with Arsenal, they'll get clean sheets. This was not one of the games. The first goal was a travesty as well. So bad. But 1 point, he's starting. It's better than Gabriel. Marcus Rashford, though, he got 7 points, and it was one of those ones where he got a yellow card quite late on in the game. And it was just sort of like, bro, what are you doing? Come on. I need that 1 point. But yeah, Rashford looks so much better out on the left. It's so obvious that he's not a centre forward. And it's only going to get better once Hodgkin's back because he's going to be on the left every game. He's going to score more points. The issue is the fixtures are sort of turning. Against Arsenal, it's the kind of game where you expect neither side to keep a clean sheet. And, he might get a stay of execution longer than I expected. Then Bryan Mbuemo, you know what? He scored 3 goals in his first 2 games. I'll give him a pass for 1. You can't keep up that record. And the thing is, I think a lot of people brought in him this week in the hope that he would continue that vein of form. Brentford, though, still look good. I think he's still a long-term asset. At his price point, especially the price point that I got him at, he's going to be a keeper. Odegaard and Saka as well, I sort of pieced them in together. Saka got a penalty, which means that Odegaard's not on them, but, it was nice having those points. Odegaard as well, still a great player. I think if you were picking one of him or Saka in your team, you'd pick Saka every day of the week. He's such a more exciting player. He gets on the ball, he drives. Odegaard sort of feels like that player who's like the pre-assister, where he's not quite as creative as somebody like Bruno or Kevin De Bruyne. He's a deeper line player in comparison to those two, but he's still got a lot of creativity. I don't know if he'll get as many points as somebody like Saka, but for the safety of playing over somebody like Martinelli, I think that's a better bet. Next up is the forwards. Watkins is just getting 5 points every game week. I think I'm just accepting it now. He's going to get 5 points. But you know what? 5 points over 38 game weeks. Let's do the maths. 190 points. I'd take that right now if you offered that for me for a 190 point season for an 8 million striker. Take that every single day of the week. Erling Haaland as well, a bit disappointing. I think everybody thought he'd get more points against Sheffield United. The penalty as well, the miss. He's not that good at penalties, you know? He sort of feels like he's a robot, but he's not great at penalties. The thing is, he's got that elite mentality where he doesn't stop. He never stops. He keeps on going, and he'll get his goal. Maybe not against Newcastle, but he'll get his goal against most teams. And for 14 million, especially after Harry Kane's left, it's almost impossible not to have him. I just think it's so difficult to choose somebody instead of him. Like, if I had Salah in my team, I still wouldn't be captaining Salah over him. And they're the two elite premium players in the game. Kevin De Bruyne as well is over 10 million, but injuries, man. Injuries. So in game week 3, we got a total of 43 points, which brought us up to a total points of 190. To think what it could have been if we had have gone with Matty Cash instead of Trent Alexander-Arnold. But FPL is all about the what ifs, isn't it? There's so much luck involved in this game, so you know what? It is what it is. Looking at the overall rank, it's still decent enough. It's 301,690 overall. There's still a 69 in it. Nice. Nice. Yes, I am mature. So in game week 3, we got a total of 43 points, which brought us up to a total points of 190. To think what it could have been if we had have gone with Matty Cash instead of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Looking then forward to the next week and what's going to happen. This is from Draft Town, so there's a link in the bio if you want to click it. We make a bit of money if you click it and sign up and pay them or whatever. So yeah, if you do that, thanks. Looking at the players for the most expected points this week, it's Haaland, Sterling, Salah, and Mbuemo, Bowen, Chilwell, and Saka. Looking at the fixtures, it's quite obvious that Haaland's the best option. Sterling has been good, obviously, as I've said, but you're not going to play Luton every week. And it's still Raheem Sterling. Last season, he was terrible. We don't know if the Raheem Sterling that we know from Man City is back because we still don't know if Chelsea are good. So that's something to consider. Salah as well, he just hasn't looked the same. And there's still the rumours about him going to Saudi Arabia, to Al Ittihad. So that lingers over him and he may push for it. I think he'll still play, obviously, but is he going to be at his best? Looking at the Liverpool side as well, they're going to be without Virgil van Dijk, and Al Ittihad are also in for Konate. So, you know what? A more sinister and cynical man than myself, I'm not that person. I am not cynical at all. Would suspect that Newcastle's owners are trying to, you know, get under the skin of Liverpool. They're definitely not, though. Then Bryan Mbuemo as well. He's been on fire this season. He's just looked class. Bowen as well. He's also looked very good. And I think anybody who's coming up against Luton is going to have chances, especially if they're an attacker or playing on the wing. So, yeah, that's just one to watch. The issue with Bowen is nobody really knows what Luton are like at home in the Premier League. They could be a different force altogether. So, that's something to keep an eye on. As well as that, Bowen, he's a class player. Chilwell and Saka as well, both good picks. United are a shambles defensively. It looks like we can concede every game. I say we because I'm a United fan. And then Nottingham Forest, I think they're better offensively than a lot of people make out. They've scored in most of their games, if not all. Just off the dome here. They scored against Arsenal and they also scored against Man United. And I don't know who the other game was. Oh yeah, it was Sheffield United, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure they scored there as well. So yeah, they did actually, because I remember Hamer scored. So yeah, there's a lot of good options here, but the most obvious one here is Haaland against Fulham as a captaincy option. Looking at the expected points here, and as well, if they get rid of João Paulinho to Bayern Munich, he's the only reason they don't concede goals because he's so good in midfield. They could get in somebody like Scott McTominay, but will that be before he's allowed play? So it's another risky week for Fulham, especially if they don't let Paulinho go. He could be in a pisser. Now, looking at the clean sheets are, well, the top win percentages for this week. This is thanks to Corf, who's also using Draft Hound. So you can see here, Corf has collated it all just into a nice little tweet. You should give him a follow. Lovely fella. You can see here the most likely teams to win this week are City, Chelsea, Brentford, Liverpool, West Ham, and Arsenal. No surprise, they're all playing some of the weaker sides in the division, and Man United. So Man United against Arsenal, it's not really surprising to think that Arsenal will be big favourites, especially given the injuries to Varane, Shaw, and obviously the midfield Mount. There's a lot going on there. It's not good. I think Arsenal will win pretty handily, but I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. But looking at those games, it's quite obvious that Man City are the team to pick players from. The issue is, who do you pick? In midfield, who do you pick? It's really difficult. Like, as in, Rodri's probably the only player that's nailed on to start. But if you've played fantasy football or if you've any bit of tactical nous about you about this game, you're not signing Rodri. It just is what it is. So yeah, there's difficulty there picking a player. And then Chelsea as well. I I don't trust Chelsea. I think there's still a process there. They signed so many players and they will come good. It's just, will they come good this early? I think that's a potential banana skin there. Brentford against Bournemouth as well. Brentford are good, as I've said. I just don't know if they're worth that sort of value. Liverpool as well without Van Dijk. That's the kind of one that you would see an upset there. I think Villa will do Liverpool, especially without Van Dijk and with all the rumours surrounding it. So yeah, going now onto the clean sheet probabilities. Man City and Chelsea are the only two sides with over 50% or 50% this week. Looking at the rest of the teams, Crystal Palace, Brentford, West Ham, Everton, these aren't really players that you would own in your team, so you can just sort of ignore them. I'm talking about defenders here. Spurs at 33% and Arsenal at 31%. If you have defenders in your team like Saliba or something like that, or let's say Estupinan, you're not going to get a clean sheet from either of them. So you're going to pick the one which has a better upside. Like, you want somebody like Saliba who will get points from goal scoring opportunities rather than choosing somebody like Saliba who's not going to really get you much. So anyway, now the issue for me is picking the transfer this week. So that's been a bit of a difficulty, I can't lie.
Everybody, transfer.
So in goal, I'm not changing anything. Sanchez stays there. Against Nottingham Forest, as you've seen, he's got a 50% chance of a clean sheet. Forest will take shots. Awani's on form. He could get a clean sheet and he could get save points. So I'm pretty happy with the goalkeeper there. At 4.5 million, he's the kind of player that you want to bring in. In defense as well, Ruben Diaz at home to Fulham. If he doesn't keep a clean sheet in these two games, I'm going to be very hurt. Estupinan against Newcastle at home. I don't think he'll keep a clean sheet. Newcastle are very good, but they're also quite good defensively. I think he's the kind of player that could get you a clean sheet in a miracle, but he could also score. So he's just something like that. Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. I don't think he'll keep a clean sheet. Like a lot of defenders this game week, they're not going to keep clean sheets. But the upside with Trent is still the upside with Trent. He costs 8 million at the start of the season. Now he's 7.9. But he's the kind of player that can score goals. He can score goals, he can keep a clean sheet, he can get assists, he can get 20 points, and then he can wreck a season. He's that kind of skill. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet, though. Villa are too good. As I said, I think they'll do them. Saliba as well at Man United. I generally don't think that game's going to end 0-0 ever. I don't think one side will keep a clean sheet in it. I think there'll be goals. I think both sides have attacking players who can score. I think Saliba will probably get 2 points or 1 point. But he's got a big head. Big head. So he could score. Then in midfield, obviously Rashford's finally back out to the left-hand side where he belongs because he's just so much better there. He's got a decent expected points because he's an attacker and he could get a goal against Arsenal, even an assist. And you know what? I'd take that. I think the thing is, in a game like this, the one thing you don't think either side will do will keep a clean sheet. There'll be goals in it. And I think Rashford, Saka, Odegaard, these are kind of players that you don't really have to worry about. It's more the defenders in this kind of game. With somebody like Saliba, for me, the real issue is, should I transfer him out? And for me, looking at the players I could bring in somebody like Malo Gusto, but I know he's going to be transferred out. Levi Colwell, well, I know he's going to be transferred out. Arsenal's next game is against Everton. I want a clean sheet there, and I think Arsenal will get that. Is it a short term change that it's not worth it? That's sort of what I'm thinking. So I'm just not bothering to do it. I think the thing is, because we're coming up to an international break, it's better to hold. Then looking up front, once again, no changes either. Believe it or not, I'm banking a transfer. I think any transfer this game week is worth its weight in gold over the international break. There'll be a lot of people who will be transferring in Chelsea assets like Jackson or Sterling. And to be honest, I want more time to evaluate if they're good or not. Jackson didn't look good against Luton. He scored the goal, but he was wasteful. First half, I was laughing. And they're not going to get an easier game than Luton. They just aren't. And Sterling as well, he won't haul in the same way that he did against Luton. It's just matter of fact. It just is what it is. If that happens, I will eat, I don't know, I'll eat something like a crayon and record it and put it on the YouTube channel if they get the same amount of points. I'll do that, all right? Hands up, happening. But it won't happen. So yeah, I think it's worth its weight to just, wait a little bit longer, get a bit more evaluation. Over the international break, there's always injuries. And you know what? It could also consider bringing in someone like Rasmus Højlund. I think looking at my team now, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's an easy way to evaluate and make more changes. So that's what I'm sticking with. The main thing that I have to consider now is captaincy. And looking at this team, it's quite difficult to choose. It's going to be subscribe to the channel. That's what it is. Yeah. So anyway, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. It takes so much time. Like it takes probably like 50,000 hours to record these things, and the research which goes in is second to none. Second to none. Nobody better. Sorry, I'm just messing. But yeah, I really appreciate it. We've almost got 2,100 followers on the YouTube, and that's class. I really appreciate everybody who watches. It's just really nice. But yeah, anyway, on to the captain. No surprises, Erling Haaland. Shock horror, the man who has the highest expected points, the highest chance of scoring, the highest chance of scoring twice is our captain. And against Fulham, who could be without a host of important players defensively. So yeah, no doubt that Leno's going to come out and save 15 shots, but Haaland will still score, probably twice. And at home, he could score twice. So that's the team. I'm gonna update you tomorrow once there's like further leaks or whatever, and update my final team. There could be a change in defense. I could play Semenyo. I could play Sar. So I'll update you on Twitter, and I'll update you in the feed tab on YouTube. So make sure you check it out on Twitter. And most likely it will either be for Saliba or somebody else if they're injured with the team news. So anyway, I've been Paddy. Thanks again for watching. Really do appreciate it. That's it. Chat to you soon. Outro time now. Why's my face still here? Weird.